Guys, welcome to Crypto Insight. I've been a professional options trader for 20 years, and about a year ago, I switched my focus from equity options to crypto options. Why? Because of the huge volatility and opportunity in the space. Trading Bitcoin has allowed me to multiply my capital in a safe way. And in these videos, I will give you the benefit of my experience and insight into how I'm reading the crypto vol market and using options to either hedge or speculate on future expected moves in the crypto space. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I hope you find this content useful. Thanks. So, crypto. What's been going on in crypto? So Bitcoin, as I had kind of suspected and I'd said on the Telegram last week, I suspected we were going to see a flush out over the weekend and retest those lows. And we kind of got exactly that, right? So Bitcoin, these are my retracements that I had on Bitcoin. We got within a whiskers distance of the 47 level. And what did we see? Right, we saw on, so that's on a daily, but if we switch it to the 4 hour, yeah, so sometimes you don't see it on a daily, but if you see it on a 4 hour, that's often good enough, right? So you saw on a 4 hour chart, you can see we're making new lows, right? That was a really, really big wick on that candle there. And you've got bullish divergence alongside. So we're seeing new lows with stronger momentum right at a confluence zone. That's kind of a good signal to say the odds of a bounce are going up. Yeah. So, and that's exactly what we saw. Now it was a pretty violent bounce, literally within, it's a 4 hour chart, right? So within half a day or a day, we've gone from 47 back to like 53, 54. So pretty powerful bounce there. Where we go from here is anyone's guess. Longer term, obviously, I still like the space. I still think about, is this sell-off actually completely done? Hard to say, right? On some of those longer term charts, maybe it suggests we need to see more downside and more bullish divergence on some of the longer time frames. I used that dip as an opportunity to unwind some of my puts that I had expiring this week, which was handy. So I got rid of some of those. They were the 52,000 strikes expiring 30th of April. So I took off some of those. Generally, I hold some sort of systematic hedge against my Bitcoin holdings. And then when we bounced to 53, I then bought some May 48s. So just kind of rolling my protection, but being opportunistic about it by selling out the put when the market's at its lows, giving me a divergent signal. And then after a healthy bounce, then buying the put that I need to buy in the following month, right? That's kind of what I did. So that's how I've kind of been managing my risk. Now, there was a news report that JP Morgan may offer an actively managed Bitcoin fund. Maybe that's got something to do with the quite aggressive, strong bounce that we saw. But then on the flip side, you've got Tesla saying they sold 10% of their holdings, although they have qualified that and said that's not because they're bearish, but it's because they wanted to prove how much liquidity there is in Bitcoin and the fact that they can whack out 10% without doing too much to the market. And also it monetizes some of what they bought, right? So it kind of shows that it's kind of a proof of concept that, parking some of our balance sheet in Bitcoin makes sense. And if we do want to get rid of it and liquidate it and bank some of those gains, we can, right? So that was kind of what they're signaling there, I guess. Yeah. So that was Bitcoin. Ethereum continues to, impress. So, I mean, you look at the relative chart on the spread there. I think longer term chart kind of speaks probably a bit louder. Oh, sorry, that's just Ethereum straight. Ethereum spread is here. So long-term chart on the Ethereum versus Bitcoin spread. I mean, it's breaking levels, right? I mean, there's a big resistance around that 0.042. And if we say that that's kind of a conclusive break now, arguably this thing's got legs towards 0.06, which would be another 30% outperformance of Ethereum over Bitcoin, right? So who knows? This is a very long-term chart, so it might take a few months or even the rest of the year to get there. But I mean, it's a pretty strong signal. And the chart's looking quite healthy on that spread, right? So that may well be where we're headed at some point. Yeah. So what do crypto bull markets think about all this? So they've seen some action for sure in terms of volumes last week. Obviously, with the wild swings, we've been seeing, if I bring up the volatility analytics. So realized vol obviously popped with these wild swings, and as a result, short dated implies kind of followed. So if we bring up realized volatility, so that's got the 7-day and 30-day realized vol, and you can see the 7 days just kind of exploded up toward above 100 again, right? Obviously 30 days not quite as dramatic, but it is grinding higher. And then if you look at what the monies did, well, that's kind of here. So, they did pop over the weekend, but the thing about the vol is that it just kind of gets sold back down pretty quickly at the first sign of stabilization, right? So you did see a spike, taking it from like 60 to even 90 in the front end, in the 1 week stuff. But you can see it gets quickly smacked back down. So it's back down to like sub 70 again, right? But, people got a bit nervous and a bit spooked by that spike in realized vol. And then skews obviously had some crazy price action as well, right? So you've got here, that's showing you the difference in vol between 25 delta puts and calls in the 1 week stuff and the 1 month stuff. And basically the 1 week stuff went 25, 30 vols over for puts. So people were really, really worried about a crash. Yeah. And you see that's actually come back all the way close to zero now. So that kind of fear of the crash has kind of dissipated pretty quickly. Obviously on the 30-day stuff, not as dramatic swings, but generally, over the last few weeks, you've seen a consistent move away from call skew towards put skew, where you may have been seeing calls 5 vols over, whereas, seeing puts 5 vols over is a bit more normal now. And actually we're kind of give or take, we're kind of close to zero in terms of skew. So it means we're a bit more symmetrical in terms of the surface. And that's kind of evident in this graph, I guess. If I expand this is for, if I bring up, say 1 month, 28th of May stuff, then you can see much more of a symmetrical smile around the at the money. So if we call the at the money 55,000, it's more of a symmetrical kind of smile than it normally would be, right? It'd normally be skewed very much to the calls, yeah? So that's kind of what's been happening. Also term structure, right? So term structure is here. It's kind of, if you add where it was kind of a couple of days ago, you can see what happens when the market suddenly moves. That green line there is the 2 days ago surface. You can see the front end kind of pops. This stuff in May expiry was at 85 vol versus June at 88. But the whole curve from sort of May out to December, was in that 85 to 88 area. So a very flat curve. But the minute we stabilize, if you look at where it is today, that's the lower green. Managed to make it all disappear. The lower green, I mean, that short end has got absolutely creamed, right? It's gone from 85 back to 68, right? Whereas the middle hasn't really collapsed quite the same way. So you see the curve very quick to kind of go back to upward sloping. Yeah. Now, quite an interesting chart is this kind of max pain, right? So now, again, normally I wouldn't consider it too much of a signal in it, but because we've actually got to an interesting point, this max pain, what it shows you is it looks at the open interest for the expiry coming up, and it says, well, at what price do most options expire worthless in terms of the ones that there's open interest for? and we happen to be trading very, very close to the max pain point, right? So right now the max pain point is about 52,000 and we're trading at about 55,000, okay? So all that says to me is going into expiry, which is the 30th, there's probably a half decent chance that we're not going to move too far from here because we're quite close to that max pain point, and therefore the market has a way of delivering that max pain, right? So I don't think, if we're going to get a big shift in the Bitcoin price, I don't think it's going to happen this week. I think it happens post expiry. So it may well happen at the weekend after all these things have rolled off. That's where you get your next big shift up or down, basically. But I'll be very surprised to see any massive move before expiry right now. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this content, please subscribe to our channel, give the video a thumbs up, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. I'd also encourage you to sign up for a free trial to our live and interactive Macro Insight Zoom call. As part of our trading community, as well as the call, you'll also get access to our Telegram chat and our weekly market reports. To find out more, you can also connect with us on the socials. All the links are at our website, www.options-insight.com. Thanks.